Hi students, welcome you all to this session. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss the lesson The Thief's Story, which was written by Ruskin Bond. Now, let's have a look at Ruskin Bond and know something about him. So, Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British descent and he was born on 19th May 1934. He lives with his adopted family in Landor in Missouri, India. And the Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He got the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra for his published work in English. And he was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and Padma Bhushan in 2014. Most of his works are influenced by life in the hill stations at the foothills of the Himalayas where he spent his childhood. And his first novel, The Room on the Roof, was written when he was 17 and published when he was 21. It was partly based on his experiences at Dehradun in his small rented room on the roof and his friends. His earlier works were written without being meant for any particular readership. His first children's book, The Angry River in the 1970s, and the second being The Blue Umbrella, had its writing toned down on a publisher's request for a children's story. And on writing for children, he said, I had a pretty lonely childhood and it helps me to understand a child better. Bond's work reflects his Anglo-Indian experiences and the changing political, social and cultural aspects of India, having been through colonial, post-colonial and post-independence phases of India. Now, before we start the story, let me draw a sketch of it in your mind. Now, this Ruskin Bond is a famous Indian writer and The Thief's Story is one of his well-known stories. And in this story, the writer shows how the reformation of a criminal is best achieved through love and understanding rather than punishment. And the story basically deals with human values and relationships. It is easier for a thief to rob a greedy man, but it is very difficult even for a thief to rob a careless and honest person. Crime and repentance is the main theme of this story, and it is written in an autobiographical style. Here, a young boy makes friends with Anil, and Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust, or will he be faithful and thankful in all? Is all about this story. Let's have a look at the main characters of this story. The thief. Actually, his real name is not Hari Singh, and he keeps on changing his names to escape from the police. And his modus operandi is that he earns the trust of people and then robs them and flees. The next one is Anil. Anil is a very kind, simple and easygoing young man, and he is tall and lean and has interest in sports like wrestling. He is not very rich and cannot offer to employ a cook. Now let's get into the story. I was still a thief when I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow. Lean is thin, and he looked easygoing, kind and simple enough for my purpose. I hadn't had much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery. Flattery is some insincere praise. helps in making friends. So do you? He replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Well, I said modestly. Modestly is in an unassuming manner, without any arrogance. I do wrestle a bit. What's your name? Hari Singh. I lied. So here the story starts from the point where the two main characters of the story meet. That is the thief and Anil. The thief is the narrator of this story, and the thief says that according to him, he was pretty good at stealing. And Anil was watching a wrestling match when the thief approached him. And we all know that Anil was a very tall, lean and easygoing man of 25 years old. And the thief had not committed any theft in the past few days, as he did not get a chance. And he thought that Anil would be a good man to steal things from. So he thought about getting comfortable with him. And then the thief commented on Anil that he looks like a wrestler himself. And he said that to win his confidence by flattering him. Actually, they were not real words. And to this, Anil replied that even the thief looked like a wrestler, which offended him as he was very thin at that time. And the thief modestly replied that he did wrestle a bit sometimes. And Anil asked his name, and the narrator, that is the thief, lied that his name was Hari Singh. I took a new name every month. That kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. Employers is a person that employs people and an organization which employs people. And after this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who are grunting, lifting and throwing. Grunting is to make a low, short sound and each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. Appealing is a very attractive smile. And I want to work for you, I said. But I can't pay you. So here what happened is the narrator, that is the thief, used to change his name every month to escape the police and his ex-employers. So then they started talking about the well-oiled wrestlers whom they watched on the screen. And the narrator did not have much to say because he did not know much about wrestling. And as Anil was leaving, the narrator again approached him, asking him that he wanted to work for him. But the narrator also approached him with the most appealing smile that he could. But Anil told him that he won't be able to pay him for his work. I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I had misjudged my man. So misjudged here is form a wrong opinion or coming to a wrong conclusion. I asked, can you feed me? Can you cook? I can cook, I lied again. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. He took me to his room over the Jumna sweet shop and told me, and told me I could sleep on the balcony. So balcony is actually a platform which is enclosed by a wall on the outside of the building or upper floor, somewhere like that. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. So terrible, it was extremely bad. But I just hung around smiling in my most appealing way and he couldn't help laughing. Later he patted me on the head and said, never mind. So patting is touching gently or quickly. He'd teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. So here what happened is, Anil told Hari that he could sleep. So Anil asked whether he knows when he can cook. Then he just again lied. Hari Singh again lied, telling that He can cook very well, and but later on, as soon as he cooked, it was so terrible that Anil had to give it away to the stray dogs. Then he told Hari to go and sleep, but Hari Singh decided to stay for a while, and Hari's smile was so appealing that Anil could not stop laughing looking at him. And after some time, Anil patted on Hari's head and told that he needn't worry and he would teach him to cook. And he also told him he will teach him how to write his name, and told he would soon teach him to write sentences and even add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. Pleasant is satisfied. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies. Supplies is a stock or something supplied or available for use. Usually making a profit of about ₹1 a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. So Hari was very grateful for what Anil had planned, as he knew that there would be no limits to his work once he knew how to write. And Hari also enjoyed working for Anil. He used to make tea for Anil in the morning, and then he used to go out to buy groceries for the day. And he would also keep ₹1 in his pocket every day from the money that Anil used to give him for daily groceries. So Anil knew that he took ₹1 every day, but he didn't mind, and he was fine with that. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow. Fits and starts is not working or something done consistently. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. Lend is to grant. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines, a queer way to make a living. Queer is nothing but strange or something odd. One evening he came home with a small bundle of notes. Bundle is a collection. Saying he had just sold a book to the publisher. At night I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. So tucking is to fold or to push. And I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. So line is in his principal activity. His principal activity is to steal. So I had every opportunity for doing so. And Anil had given me a key to the door, and I could come and go as I pleased. So here Anil did not have any regular income, as he used to earn money by doing some different activities, and he did not have any fixed job. So what happened? The narrator says that Anil used to be worried about his paychecks all the time, because as soon as he would receive a check, he would go out with his friends and celebrate. This was his usual practice. So the narrator thinks that he used to write for magazines, and the narrator also thinks that to be a strange way to make money. And then one day what happened? One evening suddenly Anil came home with some money, and he told Hari that he had just sold a book to the publisher. And before going to bed, what happened? Anil put the money under his mattress, and Hari saw him putting the money there. Now Hari thought that he had been working for Anil for almost a month, and he had not cheated him apart from that ₹1 which he used to take out, keep in for every day. So the narrator also thinks that he had every chance to steal, as Anil had given him the key to his room as well as and he could come and go whenever he wished to do. He was the most trusting person I had ever met, and that is why it was so difficult to rob him. It's easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it's difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he's been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Well, it's time I did some real work, I told myself. I'm out of practice, and if I don't take work, I told myself, I'm out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he'll only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. So here what happens? What the narrator says is Hari has been trusting him the most, and Hari had not been trusted upon by anyone else in his life so much as Anil trusted him. So this was the only thing that was stopping Hari from stealing, as he thought that it is very easy to rob a greedy man because he has the he deserves it. But it is very difficult to steal it from a careless man like Anil. And there was no use to steal, as they sometimes don't even come to know that they have been robbed. So Anil feels that when someone doesn't come to know that he has been robbed, then there is no fun left in robbing him. So then Hari, what did he do? He decided he would start with some work. And he had not robbed anyone for a long time. He also justified his act of stealing Anil's money by telling himself that if he didn't steal it, Anil would waste it on his friends. So he also thought that he had a right over the money, as Anil didn't even pay him for the work he used to do. So in this way he was justifying his robbery. Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. So beam is nothing but a ray of light. I sat up on the floor considering the situation. If I took the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Slipping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. So crept is move slowly. Anil was sleeping peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine was mostly scars. My hand slid under the mattress, searching for the notes. When I found them, I drew them out without a sound. Drew is pulled it or dragged it. So Hari started his work when Anil was sleeping. There was a little bit of light over Anil's bed because of the moonlight that was coming in from the window. And Hari sat on the floor and planned that if he took the money, he could leave the city by the 10:30 p.m. by catching the Lucknow Express train. Then he crawled towards the bed and he slipped his hand slowly inside the bed mattress. He looked at Anil, who was sleeping peacefully without a single line on his face. And Hari's face had so many scars on it. So he realized, because he was seeing him closely as he took the money. When he was taking the money, he just observed his face closely, where he found that there was not even a single line on his face, whereas there is a lot of scars on Hari, that is the narrator. He realized that although he was much younger than Anil, he had such a bad appearance due to his wrong thinking. Now, usually, whatever we feel reflects on our face. So, as he was involved in all these bad deeds, his face also reflects the same. But Anil is a very good person and simple person. The same was reflecting on his face. And on the other hand, Anil was carefree and thought good for others. That is why he had such a nice face. That was what was running around in Hari's mind. Then he took out the notes without making any sound. Slowly he took it out. Let's see then what happened. Anil sighed in his sleep and turned on his side. So side is to expressing some tiredness, or by taking an audible breath or something like that. So, and towards me, I was startled and quickly crawled off the room. Startled is feeling shocked, because suddenly when he turns, he's having the money in his hand. Hari is having the money, so if he observes, then he would be in trouble. So that is called startled. When I was on the road, I began to run. I had the notes at my waist, held there by the string of my pyjamas. I slowed down to a walk and counted the notes. 600 rupees in 50s. I could live like an oil-rich Arab for a week or two. So here what happened is, Anil took a breath in his sleep and turned his side. He was directly facing Hari, which scared him a bit. And Hari quickly left the room. And as soon as Hari left the room, he was on the road. He started running and had kept the notes in his pyjamas. And he had tied it with the string of this pyjamas. And then after a while, Hari slowed down and counted the notes after he went away from the house, little away from the house. And he had 12 notes of 50 rupees each, which made it 600 rupees. And then Hari thought to himself that with this money, he could live a luxurious life like an Arabian sheikh for at least 2 weeks. That was what was running in his mind. So later on, how does he uses this money and where does he go? Let's discuss about all this in our second session. Thank you, children.